On the second day of Christmas, PSP gave to me 2 pigeons stretching. Turtle Dove, really just a fancy pigeon, so today we're going to cover pigeon stretch. Pigeon pose in yoga, or figure 4 pose, when we're using it in a fitness class or a rehab setting, is a stretch that's meant to open the hip. It's going to stretch through the front of the hip, the psoas, and it's also going to stretch through the glutes and the hip rotators. So it's a common stretch that's given out, and we want to make sure that you're doing it perfectly. Now, this guy is giving me the demonstration of a full pigeon pose from yoga. I don't expect this out of any of you. Today we're going to work on half pigeon pose and some variations that you can take to make sure that you're getting the full benefits of the pose. All right? Grab a mat and we'll work through a couple different options for you. Come on back and join me on your yoga mat in quadruped position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. From here, we're going to find our first classic half pigeon pose. Through this, you're going to want to maintain your neutral spine, making sure that you're not rounding through the low back or the shoulders. To start, you're going to pull the knee towards the corresponding wrist, allowing the foot to come towards the opposite wrist. At all times, this front knee is going to be in front of the hip and the front ankle in front of the opposite hip. Depending on your flexibility, that's going to change the angle of the front knee. From here, you're going to sit back, keeping the hips squared to the front. Now for some people, this is going to be too much pressure to that front knee or hip, so you can grab a yoga block and just prop it under that butt cheek. It gives a lot more support, and if that stretch is too much, then that yoga mat is going to lessen it. At all times, your hips are going to stay squared to the front of the mat. So if there were 2 laser beams shooting out in front of them, they're going directly in front of you. The back leg is going to extend directly behind you, and you're going to make sure that it doesn't cross behind the body. From here, we're going to take a nice deep breath, inhaling to extend and stretch through the front of that hip, in through that psoas, in through those hip flexors. And then you can exhale and fall forward, still keeping that nice neutral spine. You can come to elbows, you can come to fully extended sleeping pigeon, but keeping that nice neutral through your body. Option 2 for pigeon pose, if that one's a little bit too much for you, is the reclined pigeon. For the reclined pigeon, you're going to make your way onto your back. You're going to cross one foot over the opposite knee, and you're going to, again, keep that spine nice and neutral, so we're not rounding through the shoulders or the low back. Now, from there, to get the stretch, you're going to pull that in towards the body. Grab behind that thigh and extend that support leg. Now, if you can't reach behind that leg without rounding to the back, that's where you might need a strap. And you can use that to pull behind the leg and in towards the body, till you can feel the stretch in the crossed over hip. There's our first 2 pigeons stretching, both from a yoga mat. Your next 2 pigeons stretching are from an elevated surface. One is a seated pigeon and one is a standing pigeon. So I'm going to use my massage table in here, and first we'll do a seated pigeon. From seated, you're going to cross one foot over the opposite knee. But please note, keeping that nice neutral spine. So you're sitting up nice and tall, the toe is pulled towards the shin, and we're going to drop the chest hinging at the hip towards that shin. Just through there, you should get a nice stretch in through that hip, in through that glute. It's an easy way to do the stretch throughout the day while sitting at your desk. Now, a standing pigeon can be done easily at an elevated surface as well. You're going to cross one foot in front of you onto that table. From here, keeping the neutral spine, dropping forward, hinging again at the hip. The shin might pivot to a different angle to find the right stretch for you, but all of these are aiming at stretching through the same muscles in that glute. I'm going to give you one last pigeon, which leaves us with one solo pigeon, poor pigeon, and that's a standing pigeon from yoga. It's more of an active stretch. So for this one, you're going to come standing nice and tall, cross one foot over the opposite knee, and from there you're going to sit back. Hips are still squared to the front. You're nice and open through the chest. You have that stretch in the glute, but everything's firing to keep you balanced and into that pose. There you have it, guys. Have a happy holiday. I'll see you in the new year. Bye.